Hello again and welcome to another episode of the Franchise Everything podcast, where we talk about everything and anything franchising. And today I'm once again joined by the wonderful Doug Downer, who is the founder of Franchise Ready. G'day, Doug.
Hey, Glenn. How are you? Thanks for allowing me to be on your podcast.
Pleasure, mate. Pleasure again. You've been on before and we talked about your books and everything like that, so it was awesome. And we're at the National Franchise Convention down in Melbourne. How's the event been for you?
It's been phenomenal. Look, I think if you think about where we were a year ago and what's happened in the FCA, the vibe is just so upbeat and positive.
It is very positive, isn't it?
Yeah,
very buzzy.
Yeah. I think we're an exhibitor and a sponsor. We've got our whole team here again, not as many as we had last year, but it's been a really good conference. We've gotten a lot out of it. We'll get some work out of it, but that's not really why we're here. It's about supporting franchising.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's always a good fringe benefit, isn't it, to get some work out of it as well.
Absolutely.
Keeps the lights on.
Yeah.
So the reason I want to talk to you, and I pitched you this idea on LinkedIn in a message, I was thinking, I reckon it'd be really cool because I see you overseas a lot. You're in India, UK, US, you are all over the place. You must have thousands of freaking fly miles. And I wanted to talk about, I think that you've done an amazing job, mate. I think you're a credit to Australian franchising. What you've done is that exporting in a B2B market, exporting your IP and your intellectual property to international markets, and how you've done it. And I think there's a lot of people who are suppliers who probably dream of being able to do it, but you seem to have cracked the code a bit from what I've seen. Yeah. How do you even start to approach that? Where was your thinking in exporting Franchise Ready service? Or maybe the first thing we should do is explain what Franchise Ready does.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd probably help.
Yeah. So Franchise Ready was born, it was very much a side hustle business for me. Started in 2012. I've been in the franchising sector since 1983. So run a number of franchise systems, been a franchisee, been a master franchisee. So I have a real passion for franchising as a way to, to go to market in a business and to be successful. We know the success rate's twice as good in franchising. My last business was a coaching business, and I niched into franchising, and I was working with emerging franchisors.
I think we met during that coaching
absolutely,
business, didn't we?
You did a video recording for us.
I did. I remember that. That was a long time ago now.
It was. So 10 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. That's shaky footage.
Yeah. I can remember it was at the Menai Community Centre was where we did
I remember the Raiders ex-Raiders coach.
Yes.
Elliott.
Matt
Elliott was there.
Yeah.
I thought, my God, I'm a Raiders fan, so I'm going to interview him. Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah. He's a great guy,
guy.
Yeah. He nearly bought into our business and it just didn't work out. He's gone in a different direction, but he's doing really well.
We digress.
We did. But history gets you to a point. And so for me, it was a lifetime in franchising. And I was really passionate about helping business owners grow, and franchising was the thing that I knew. And so I was, as a side hustle, getting 2 or 3 businesses franchise ready. So doing all their documentation, strategy work, financial modeling, standard operating procedures, ops manuals, all the things a brand needs in order to scale and grow. And then it dawned on me, it doesn't really matter whether you want to franchise or not. Every business should be franchise ready, have all the systems, the disciplines, the rigor that a franchise business has. And I applied that into my coaching practice. And then I got more and more business in the franchising space. And it got to a point where I said, this is actually what I'm really, truly passionate about. And so I actually sold that master franchise to one of the franchise partners in the business.
The coaching one?
Yeah. And then focus exclusively on getting brands franchise ready. And we work with clients that will never ever franchise, but they want a better business. And so that's the premise of what we do.
How do you get those people then? Because, I mean, when you talk about niche, franchise ready is pretty niche.
It is.
It's you've got to go a few extra sentences to explain to them that you can still help them.
Yeah, I think some people can read between the lines. So, as you know, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. And so business owners are on LinkedIn, see that they aspire to franchise, even if their concept's not franchisable. So we get reach outs from business owners who just want better businesses, want better systems and processes. It's a very small percentage of our total work because we're very much niched into franchising. But I never set about taking this brand global. I think you always you dream of creating something that's bigger than what you originally...
But there's the whole thought about, that'd be great, but how would I do that?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting how it came about. So I just sold a franchise or granted a franchise to a franchisee within the coaching practice. And then I had to break the news to him that I was selling because I was creating the Franchise Ready business. And he...
was outraged? He was outraged?
Well, he wasn't actually. I didn't get the money. I got the I converted him and sold him the concept, but then he'd been in franchising for a number of years and he said to me, Doug, would you consider me being a franchise partner. I said, look, we're not ready to franchise what we do. I'd never even contemplated it. And at the same time, I had someone in New Zealand who had seen what we'd done, and we just won an award as the best franchise consulting firm in the world, which is, I laugh about now because business is so much better today than it was 5 years ago. And these two guys both asked me, would I allow them to use our IP and do what they do in their respective markets. And I wasn't sure franchising was the right way to go. So I offered them a 1-year license. What I realized getting into that license was we were actually a franchise, and I needed to get ourselves franchise ready. We didn't continue with
your own advice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we didn't move forward with the New Zealand guy because he wasn't as focused on the business as I needed him to be, because he was an accountant who had an accounting practice. We're dealing with a lot of franchisors, but he wasn't.
So for those who's a B2B supplier type of thing now, how was the concept of 1-year license work? How was that going to work? Because it's like, is it just get the IP but not use the brand for a period?
They paid a small amount of money up front, and there was if we extended, then it would be a subsequent payment, but he paid us a percentage. So it was like a franchise agreement in terms of each project that we did.
Yeah. So it's like a try before you buy almost.
Exactly, yeah. But I realized very quickly that it wasn't a license, it was a franchise. And so we set about then saying, okay, well, if we're going to franchise, let's do it properly. We documented our whole system so anybody could walk in and pick up our model and make it work in other markets. I went to a couple of shows, and my first franchise partner in the UK I got from a show. He wasn't the right franchise. So I made a critical mistake.
What mistake did you make with him?
Everything that I tell business owners not to do, franchisors, around recruiting the right person for the right reasons, I didn't listen to my own advice. And I knew in my gut that this guy wasn't right, but I wanted to grow, and I didn't want to keep traveling to the UK and doing what we were doing. So I brought this guy on.
So you mentally got squeezed, didn't you, on it? Yeah, for a bad decision.
Yeah. Look, having said that, we launched 7 brands in the UK in that first 12 months
with that
individual. Now, we did the majority of the work, and we parted ways about a year ago, and we've now got an outstanding franchise partner there. But the other leads came through the work that I've done on LinkedIn in building the profile of Franchise Ready. And so all of our franchise partners have been inbound leads from LinkedIn saying, hey, I want to be a consultant in the franchising space. This guy seems to be doing a pretty good job. And they reached out to me, and the rest is history. We're now operating in India, the Middle East, the UK. We've just opened a corporate office in Singapore about a month ago, and we're about to open in the US. So
it really does just show you the value of socials, doesn't it? Particularly LinkedIn in our space, right? So because I see a lot of brands like you do, right? And I get contact with a lot of brands. And then when I'm looking for an executive, and I think I'd put it out to executives, start taking control of your narrative and your story out there in your career. I'm stunned when I see senior executives with no presence and next to no profile and haven't posted on LinkedIn in 6 months. It blows me away. It's like a gold mine of opportunity and career progression.
Yeah. Well, you know what I think with that? I think from a corporate point of view, if you're an employee, you do it so that you can build your own profile so that you're more valuable. They don't see the true value. From a B2B perspective, if you're a business owner and you're not doing things on socials and particularly LinkedIn, then you're not gonna grow your brand.
No.
But it's about persistency and consistency. People give up way too early on
if they don't get enough likes or something.
Exactly.
It's an ego thing. They're embarrassed. And Gary Vee talks about it as well. Don't worry about the ego thing. Let it go. Just keep posting, and you'll build your network.
You know what the amazing thing is? Like we all like the vanity metrics of people liking and commenting on your posts. But the reality is even over the 3 days of this convention, the amount of people that have come up to me and they know exactly what I've done in the last month because I've traveled the last month. They know exactly what I'm doing. They follow me. They tell me they follow me. Not a single one of them's ever liked or commented on my post, but people see it. So I think what happens is we get tied up or caught up in the vanity of those metrics and think, oh, this is not working, and they let it go.
And gives you a false read, doesn't it? And I'm being very similar. People who I have never met before have come up to me and said, watch your podcast all the time, love it or whatever. I think, well, can you rate it, please? Can you give it a 5 stars for me? Please, if you're watching the movie, if you like it, give it a 5 stars, would you? It helps us because it gets it out for more people to see it.
Well, it amplifies it.
Amplifies it. So, but it's so true. I've had it a number of times up here. People from NZ, all sorts of stuff there, which is great. Which is great. Which is the whole purpose of it. So, enough about me. How did you go from? Okay, so there's that concept there. What were the mechanics to get that acceleration happening? Because what year are we talking here? Because it doesn't sound like that long
only
ago.
been a couple of years. Yeah,
that you have really ramped up.
Yeah.
So what was the acceleration point for you? And
I think it goes back to what was the objective. Once it was triggered in my mind that we could do it, and I realised that when we did the license, it was like, franchising in Australia is hard. I don't care what anyone says. And I think Australian franchisors are the best in the world. Now, not everybody is suited.
Because it's hard.
Yeah. But I don't think everyone's suited to international. But for what I wanted to do is to provide an opportunity to help Australian brands go into international markets. So our business is broken into two components. One is the emerging brands, getting them ready for franchising. But what can we do that's going to help some of those brands, but some of the more established brands go into other markets? Because I've seen Aussie brands go overseas and not work.
Because they don't have anyone on the ground there with
Exactly.
knowledge is the key, isn't it?
And that was certainly for us, where we were working in markets, but we didn't have boots on the ground, we didn't have success. As soon as we put the right people on the ground in those markets, our business just took off. We'll develop more franchise brands internationally this year than we did last year. Like we did 45 Australian brands last year and 26 international brands. We'll do double that internationally.
Because there's about 3 or 4 Dougs over there now, isn't there?
There is.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because you always think about this, how could I replicate myself?
Yeah.
So obviously these Australian brands, even that you're taking over there, they're getting you, but the US or the UK or whatever version.
Yeah. And the thing is, the whole premise of franchising is that you systemize, document, and create a business model that can be replicated. We've done that. So we do it for everyone else. We've done it for our business. So as long as I recruit the right partner, and I had made a mistake, but the team I've got now are phenomenal, and they can pick up our model and they can make it work. And we've got the check and balance. So we've got one of our team is focused exclusively on international support of those franchise partners. So nothing goes out to a client without us reviewing it to make sure it's at our standard.
I was going to say, so how do you support them? So what does your model look like if someone's thinking of overseas expansion of their IP? What does your model look like in working with the equivalent of you over there?
I've never been about big upfront fees, so it's a very modest fee to get the rights to access our products. We, like most professional services franchises, our franchise royalty fee is a little bit higher than maybe a retail business. We're at 15% royalty, which is still cheaper than a lot of other professional services. So we've built out all the assets, and we've got lots of templates, lots of systems that they can pick up and use. But Carla Van Maal, who's our international manager, she's just about to relocate to the US so that she's going to be closer to other markets to support our franchise partners. She speaks to each franchise partner every week. We have a franchise partner meeting every month. And then bi-weekly we're having other calls. So we're physically talking to them weekly, fortnightly, monthly, and I'm in the market. Now Carla will be the one doing a lot more of the travel than I. But I did
stay home.
I was in the UK 4 times last year. I was away for 22 weeks in market supporting franchisees. So doing all the trade shows, doing projects with them.
You almost can't replicate that. You've got to be there to do it if you want to grow in that market, isn't it? Those sorts of things.
So the key thing is
showing up. It's all about, like here, it's all about showing up.
Yeah. The key thing is recruiting the right people. And I've said it a couple of times. I made a mistake, and you can spin your wheels with the mistakes that you make. So be really discerning about who you're going to give your brand to. Give them the right training and the right support, and let them run with it. And
so with that in mind, what sort of criteria and or tools do you use to assess someone to be the suitable person to represent you and your brand in any country?
We use a couple of tools. Firstly, I want to see what they're doing on LinkedIn, see if they've actually got a profile and whether people are going to follow them.
It's such a given, isn't it? It's like, let's have a look. Yeah.
We use Franchise Lab, so Greg Nathan's profiling tool. We also use DISC profiling, so go deep on behavioural and motivators. But it's really, I think it's important to eyeball someone. So we had our US partner and our UK partner fly over to Australia to do a discovery.
Is that the one I met at
You
Drinks?
met them?
I chatted a lot
You
to
met
them.
Guy and Graham.
Yeah.
So those guys made the effort. So if someone's prepared to jump on a plane or fly 20 plus hours,
serious person.
They're serious.
Yeah.
But they've also got to have some credentials behind them. So Guy, who you met, has been a multi-unit franchisee across 8 gyms. He built a franchise system.
Nail franchise?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
built a nail salon franchise, grew it to 100 units, sold it to private equity. There's a guy that actually knows franchising. He's been a franchisee, he's been a franchisor, he's built and sold something. So he's got credibility.
He's got credibility in that market that you could take you years to build up. If you want, you'd have to relocate there.
Yeah. Who's going to listen to an Aussie telling Americans how to do franchising?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, no, I reckon they listen to it. Oh, they know how good you are, mate. I'm sure they do now.
It's a big market.
It is. It is a very big market.
But
very exciting.
It's interesting. When we had the right people on the ground, our business just blew up. While it was us, an Aussie doing it, and they say, "Oh, where are you from?" That was a barrier to us growing.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. All right. I think excellent insights. I reckon we can dig a lot deeper. We'll unpack and we'll come up with another one another day, and we'll come up with some more topics. Doug, thanks for joining us, mate.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks, mate. That's it for another on the Franchise Everything podcast. Please share, like, subscribe, do that stuff, and catch you in the next one soon.